Have you ever noticed that some men seem to command a room without saying a single word? They don't have the loudest laugh, the most rehearsed jokes, or the flashiest status symbols. Yet, when they interact with a woman, there is a visible, almost visceral shift in her energy. Her shoulders drop, her gaze lingers, and her entire posture softens into a state of receptive ease. Most men believe that to connect with a woman, they need to do more talking, more impressing, more game, or more displays of wealth and success. But the truth found in both evolutionary psychology and modern neuroscience is the exact opposite. Today, I am going to share a gesture so simple and effortless that it can make a woman feel deeply moved in seconds. It has nothing to do with being exceptionally handsome or powerful in the traditional sense.
It is something far more genuine and surprisingly overlooked by almost every man in the dating world. This isn't just a move, it's a biological green light that tells her nervous system you are a man of presence, security, and strength. Before we dive into the mechanics of this, I want to ask you a quick question in the comments. Do you really believe one simple silent gesture can change the entire energy of a conversation? Tell me what city and country you're watching from, and let's explore why this works. The biggest mistake most men make is falling into what I call the performance trap. When you want to connect with someone you find attractive, you likely feel an intense pressure to prove your value. You feel the need to fill every silence, to showcase your wit, and to constantly check for her approval. But here's the biological reality. A woman's body reacts before her conscious mind does. Within milliseconds of an encounter, her nervous system is scanning you for three things: intention, energy, and emotional safety. If you are rushing, fidgeting, or trying too hard to be liked, she senses that tension as a lack of security. She may not be able to explain it logically, but she feels it deeply in her gut. To melt those defenses, you have to understand that the gesture we are discussing today is actually a sophisticated combination of three specific elements: a calm, intentional approach, a steady yet gentle gaze, and the mastery of confident silence. Let's start with the first element, the intentional approach. This does not mean moving in slow motion like you're in a movie, nor does it mean being lethargic. It means moving with purpose but without urgency. In our modern, high-speed world, most men move with a frantic, jittery energy. They lean in too quickly, they walk with a rushed pace, and they project an aura of needing to get somewhere. From an evolutionary standpoint, rapid, jerky movements are associated with predators or individuals who are anxious and unstable. When you approach a woman with a calm, grounded pace, you are giving her nervous system the necessary time to digest your presence before you even open your mouth. On a subconscious level, this communicates immense self-control. It shows you are a man who can manage his own internal state, and because you can manage yourself, she instinctively feels that you can handle the weight of her emotions and the nuances of the moment. You are essentially telling her biology, I am safe, I am certain, and I am not a threat. The second element is the steady yet gentle gaze. This is perhaps the most delicate part of the gesture because balance is everything. There is a massive difference between a predatory stare and a comforting, present gaze. Most men either avoid eye contact because they are shy, or they overcompensate by staring intensely in a way that feels like they are trying to conquer or own the woman. The secret to a gaze that melts defenses is non-grasping eye contact. This means you are looking at her not because you are searching for a sign of approval, and not because you are trying to intimidate her, but simply because you are fully present with her. When you look at a woman with a soft, steady gaze, you are communicating that you see her, not just her physical appearance, but her essence. This gaze says, I am here, I am fully focused on you, and I don't need anything from you in return. This lack of neediness is incredibly magnetic because it allows her to feel seen without feeling hunted or pressured to perform. It creates a bridge of trust that bypasses the logical mind and speaks directly to the heart. The third element is the one that most men struggle with the most: confident silence. In the world of dating and social interaction, silence is often viewed as a failure. We've been conditioned to think that if there is a gap in the conversation, something has gone wrong. We feel a spike of social anxiety, and we rush to fill the void with meaningless chatter or nervous questions. However, silence that is handled with ease is one of the most powerful tools a man can possess. This isn't an awkward, empty silence where you're looking at your feet. It is a quiet that is filled with presence. By remaining comfortable when no one is talking, you communicate that you are secure within your own skin. You aren't afraid of the unspoken. This confident silence creates an emotional vacuum. It gives her the space she needs to breathe, to process her own feelings, and to actually feel the attraction she has for you. If you are always talking, she never has a moment to reflect on how much she enjoys being in your company. Silence is the canvas upon which attraction is painted. Why is this combination so scientifically effective? It all comes down to the regulation of the nervous system. When a man is calm, steady, and quiet, he helps regulate the woman's nervous system through a process called co-regulation. A calm approach prevents her alert mode from triggering. The gentle gaze stimulates the release of oxytocin, often called the bonding hormone or the cuddle chemical. This hormone is responsible for feelings of trust, empathy, and social connection. Simultaneously, the absence of frantic speech prevents the spike of cortisol, the stress hormone. When her cortisol is low and her oxytocin is high, she enters a state of emotional opening. This is the moment where she feels she can let her guard down, stop being on, and simply be herself. She moves from a state of protection to a state of connection. You will know this melting is happening when you start to see involuntary physiological responses that are impossible to fake. You might notice her pupils dilating, which is a classic sign of attraction and emotional arousal. You might see her perform self-soothing gestures, such as gently touching her neck, playing with her hair, or lightly stroking her own arm. These aren't just random movements, they are signs that her body is processing a high level of positive emotional energy. You'll notice her voice might drop in pitch, becoming softer and more melodic. Her body will naturally begin to lean toward yours, and she will likely remove any physical barriers between you, like moving a glass or a bag out of the way. These are all signals that she feels safe enough to be vulnerable with you. The most important thing to remember is that you cannot use this like a technique. If you try to perform this gesture as a way to manipulate a woman, it will backfire. Women have spent thousands of years evolving a bullshit detector that is far more sensitive than most men realize. They can sense micro-expressions of insincerity in a fraction of a second. If your internal state is one of manipulation, your body language will leak that information through subtle twitches, unnatural eye movements, or forced pauses. The key to making this gesture work is to actually become the man who is capable of it. It requires you to work on your own internal security. It requires you to be a man who doesn't need external validation to feel whole. When you genuinely enjoy your own company and you aren't desperate for a specific outcome, these gestures happen naturally. You move calmly because you aren't in a rush to prove yourself. You look at her gently because you actually appreciate her presence. You stay silent because you are comfortable with who you are. Developing this level of presence doesn't just transform your romantic life, it changes your entire existence. When you master the ability to be grounded and present, you become a leader in every area of your life. People in your workplace will trust you more because you project stability. Your friends will respect you more because you aren't easily rattled. You become a pillar in a world that is increasingly chaotic. It's about creating a space in a room where others feel they can finally relax. That is the true essence of masculine power. It isn't the power to dominate, but the power to stabilize and protect the emotional environment. So, the next time you find yourself with a woman you're interested in, I want you to resist the urge to perform. I want you to stop trying to win. Instead, focus on the melting gesture. Approach the moment with calm intention. Offer her a gaze that is full of presence but free of demand. And most importantly, do not be afraid of the silence. Let the silence sit between you like a comfortable guest. Let her see that you are a man who is not afraid of the depth that silence brings. When you do this, you aren't just using a manly gesture. You are showing her that you are a man of high character and deep emotional maturity. If you want to take this journey deeper, I want you to do two things. First, leave a comment below with the phrase, "I master this," to signal to yourself in this community that you are committed to your growth. Second, tell me which of the three elements, the approach, the gaze, or the silence, is the hardest for you personally. Is it the anxiety of the silence? Or perhaps the difficulty of maintaining eye contact without feeling awkward? Identifying your specific challenge allows us to address it together. We are building a community here focused on authenticity, maturity, and genuine human connection, not tricks or manipulation. If this message resonated with you, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us reach more men who are looking for a better, more grounded way to navigate their relationships. Thank you for being here, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.